Hello, Carl here with Sustainability Theory News. We're over at beefmagazine.com, and they have an article, 11 Ways to Damage Soil versus 11 Ways to Build It. They got a couple of graphics. We'll go to those in a second. But they give some good tips right here at the front on how to help soil microbiology, the microbiome, the beneficial bacteria and fungi that's in the soil that really helps break down the nutrients so the plants can uptake it through their roots. Well, you got to keep the soil cool. Having some good moisture in there will help it cool down as well, but maybe some shade crops, cover crops like clover that will actually fixate nitrogen in the soil as well. Build up water infiltration and retention. So the infiltration means you don't want to have a hard pan on top so all the water that falls on your land just washes away. You want it to permeate the soil. And you want it to retain. You don't want to just have 10 feet of sand because that water will just go right through your soil. You want to have some organic matter, some mulch or some mulched cover crops, some crimped cover crops, something that'll help retain that moisture. You need to have good aerobic conditions, so moisture, somewhat cool temperatures, and provide a flow of carbon-rich food, so organic matter. And here's the things to build the soil. Green manures or cover crops. Again, clover, great cover crop. Conservation tillage, so tilling as little as possible and as shallow as possible. Maybe even following the contour lines of the land, a key line design sort of tillage. Return of plant residues. So if you're farming corn, for instance, have the stalks go right back into the soil. Don't just remove the stalks and sell them for MDF board or whatnot. Low temperatures and shading. Again, you want to have some nice cover crop or some layers of cover crops to help that temperature stay low in the soil. Controlled grazing. If you have animals like cows or sheep or chickens, you don't want them to just trample over the soil and the grass 24/7. You want to do management intensive grazing or heavy rotational grazing where they only stay on a paddock of land for about a day. Check out Joel Salatin Polyface Farms for more. High soil moisture, surface mulches, wood chips are nice, but only if you let them compost for about a year. Application of compost and manure. Not all manures are built the same. Horse manure needs to be composted for a year, so mix it with wood chips. It works out well. Get some good nitrogen levels. Not too much, not too little. If you give it too much, it'll burn up the grass. Give it too little, it won't be enough to give some nice green, healthy growth. High plant productivity. Well, if you have healthy soil, you're going to have high plant productivity. But the more plants you got growing, the more soil it will build up, which brings us to the last point, high plant root to shoot ratio. Actually, if you have a hay field, which is what this article is mostly talking about, when you chop off the top part of the plant, some of the roots will die off and will put what's called green manure back into the soil as the old roots die off and compost into the soil and new roots are grown. So you want to have also, the deeper the roots and the more roots, it will help take that nutrients from the deep parts of the soil, put it right on top as long as you mulch any crops that you're going to return the residues. We'll quickly go through 11 things to tear down soils. Erosion, which also comes from intensive tillage. Whole plant removal, which will also lead to erosion. High temperatures and exposures to the sun, which will kill the soil bacteria and fungi, leading to erosion. Overgrazing, which will trample plants and really damage any sort of pasture, grasses, or plants that you have in the soil. Low soil moisture, same thing as having high temperatures. It will just kill the soil life in there. Fire, which they put it on the bad thing, and it is a bad thing. It can destroy a lot of plants, destroy a lot of property. But I'll tell you what, one day when my family was out of town and I was working, one of my friends accidentally set fire to our front yard, and boy, that grass grew back greener than ever. But application of inorganic materials, so like fertilizers, pesticides that are not organic in nature, they're synthetic. It really doesn't help with the soil life. Excessive mineral nitrogen, again, it'll just burn up your plants. Low plant productivity, that's not going to build up your soil. And low plant root to shoot ratios, again, not going to build up your soil. I will link to this article in the description. There's a lot of details in here. And of course, building stronger soil is the key to having a more productive, sustainable farm or garden. And if you'd like to see more news headlines like this, subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.